I got another tool chest handle. This one comes to me looking pretty good, actually. It's getting dried out though. Very dried out. It's cracking along here. I don't know how much of that you'll see. It's starting to crack pretty bad. And it looks like they've got it doesn't look like a dye, it looks more like a paint. So I'm going to try to match the color as close as I can. I know I'm not going to get perfect because this is not like a regular dye. It really, I mean, here you can see that it's right through to the leather, and it's just like a paint, which wouldn't be uncommon. There is leather paint, so like an edge coat or something. Is it just a leather paint? That's what this looks like it is. We're going to take it apart very carefully because the ends are solid, and I think I can keep everything together, make this into a little bit of an easier project aside from matching the color. So I've got a saddle tan, I got a light brown and a dark brown. I'm going to see what's going to get me closest color wise. Everything will darken up when I put a top coat on it, but I'm going to dye 3 pieces of leather and see where I get to and how close I get, and then we'll start taking this apart. So I'll be back. Sometimes when you're trying to match a color, you'll have to mix your own. I don't want to mix my own. I think this dark brown, once I oil it, is going to be okay. Once it's oiled and let it sit for a while, we'll be alright, the right color I need. These other 2 pieces, I'll set those aside. I'm sure I'll find a handle to use those on. But I think this dark brown, Phoebing's dark brown dye, is going to do what I need to do. We'll just oil her up. Hopefully it won't be too dark. Now it's going to get real dark here for now. Hopefully it'll mellow out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be perfect when it's done. I had 2 coats of tan coat on here, and I've sanded it down just to smooth things out real nice, and they're really nice. I'm going to put another coat on here, let it dry overnight. Letting it dry overnight just lets it really set up good so you can sand it. And tomorrow I will sand it some more. I want it to be as smooth as possible. Back on the tool chest handle, my leather is dyed. I think it's a pretty good match. I do have the old leather here. It will darken up a little bit once I put a top coat on it. I don't know how well you can see that, but I think we're pretty close. The top coat, like I said, will darken it a little bit. But I burnished it too. I don't think I've ever showed anybody that I've done that in the past. But I simply take a burnishing tool, something like this, and you can just kind of rub it down good. And it really smooths it out if you've got any kind of texture to it. This one has some, so this really smooths it out. And I'll burnish it too once I get it glued on. But that's what it looks like after. Kind of looks a nice little antique-y. I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this wet, and I get it really wet because what I'm going to be doing to it is not pleasant. But it's got to be done because I'm going to wrap it so it goes all the way around this. I don't know how much I've showed in other videos. I've still got at least two handle videos that I'm working on. I think one I put, the first part came out already. This one is just an immaculate handle to start with, so I really want to keep it that way. So you can put your glue on wet leather. It's not going to hurt it. There's no real good, easy way to do this. You're going to get messy. You're going to get glue on yourself. Everything's going to happen just because that's just the way it is. So I do need most of this length. It is, what is it? 10 inches long by 4.5, 5 inches wide. That's about the size you need. Well, it's the size I use because I just like to have extra. You're going to have extra regardless. I will apply a second coat to everything. I like to have something so I could, while the glue is drying, it'll just sit. This is just a squeeze clamp. That's set up. And it's going to be real hard to tell when this is set up at all, but it looks like it is now. We'll move right back on to get that second coat on here. Nice even coverage. Second coat the handle too. Alright, still a little tacky. I'm going to do my best to keep this on the screen here. But I can't look at the monitor because I got to look at what I'm doing. I'm going to go about middle. And start this going all the way down. Now if I leave it off the end here right away, it makes stretching this around this corner just a little easier. So I get some wrinkles in there, and you can burnish those out. For the most part, you can get most of them out. Now I've got to get rid of some of this excess. That's just going to make it easier to keep working with it here. I'm leaving plenty of excess there. That's not going to be an issue. I have found that the round tools work the best. Down in the corner here, it's always a little tougher. I use this because it's got a nice edge on it. I'm looking to make sure that most of the wrinkles are out. You're going to have some, but you can minimize them by burnishing them down like this. Especially along this area. I want to make sure I've got clips holding the corners in. Pretty happy where my center is. And all the time I'm watching to make sure that it's looks pretty centered on there. It looks really good. I do have some new clips that I bought, and they're just not as strong. But I do need to use some. I'm pretty satisfied with how that all sits. So there is my rooster comb, or whatever you want to call it. It looks kind of weird, but it'll sit like that, and it's going to stay that way overnight at least, probably till tomorrow evening when I get back out to the shop. Then we'll trim everything up a little bit more, get it stitched and top coated, and that'll be the end of this one. Very happy with this one. It came to me in pretty good condition, so I'm just kind of helping it be all that it can be. Removed my clips. I didn't get out here yesterday, so I didn't do anything yesterday on it. Just need to trim up a little right here on the ends. I just want to clip that off. I kind of started trimming a little bit just on these ends, but I need that clipped off a little because, well, I have to start there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my 2-prong 4mm awl, and I'd really like to use a 5mm spacing on here, but I just don't have it. So probably use probably set this to 5mm and do it that way. I wonder. That's right about where it is, because I'm just making a mark. So I'm going right up against the handle and making a mark. I don't know if you'll be able to see them there. Just some little dots so I can go through with an awl later. The stitching, the original stitching on this handle was about a 5mm stitch. That's why I wanted to do this. Alright, so I got my holes all the way around, and then I am going to punch them through with an awl. Now you could use, it doesn't matter, because you're not gonna, you won't see the angle of your stitch or any of that, so it doesn't matter what kind of awl you use. You could use a round awl, a diamond awl. I'm going to use a diamond awl because I have one. You can use a flat awl. So I could use a round awl like this, because I'm just making awls. That's all I'm doing. This is a diamond awl. It is about a 2mm hole is what it'll punch. This is just another diamond awl. This is a CS Osborne. It's a little more substantial handle on it. That is about a 2.5mm. So, and these are awls that I use from day to day. I have a couple other blades for this. This one is a flat awl, which I won't use on this because I need to save this awl. It's the second one I got. The first one broke the first time I used it. So anyway, here we go. Alright, all my holes are punched. I'm going to grab some thread and needles and I'm just going to sew it up. You've seen it done 100 times before, so that's all I'm going to do. So I'm using a .020 main thread for this, which is about a 0.6mm if you're using like tiger thread or something. And I'm going to bind the end. I want to keep that down right close to the handle. Pulling it kind of snug, but I want to keep it down tight against the material inside the handle. I'm not pulling any of my stitches too terribly tight, but they're snug. Almost to the end here. When you're pulling these tight, you want to pull them snug, not super tight, because it is thin leather, so it will pull through. Ask me how I know. That video might have come out already, I don't know. Probably has. Happened on one. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to do that binding stitch. And I'm going to go back to well, that is so far so good. I'm going to have to trim, so I'm going to go and cut this down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my plain old snap knife. You all know I'm a proponent of throwing your old blades and needles and stuff in there. And it may seem silly to do this, but I want my blade super sharp. As sharp as I can make it. So that should be pretty darn sharp. And I'm going to start part way up here. And I'm going to get right under my light. I'm staying about 1/8 of an inch away from my stitches. Should be able to see that. I'm just kind of going around very carefully. Now my head's probably getting in the way, but so we're cut down. It's not a super clean cut by any means. We'll go after it with some 220 grit. Try to round things out nice. It's going to be time consuming, but it is what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and sand. It's going to take me a while, and then I will cut you back on. I totally forgot to turn the camera on. I did burnish all this, and I used the Toco Pro. I got this at Springfield Leather. I'm really liking this better than the Toconol, and you could probably thin out the Toconol and get the same effect, but that's what I'm using here. It's not a perfect burnish by any means, but it's really difficult to burnish thin leather like this, especially on a handle the way this is. It looks like when it dried it kind of slipped. There was still some of that groove left, and I should have just filled it in. I know, but it kind of slipped into the old groove, just in a couple right here, just right here. So it's a little off center there. Otherwise, it looks pretty centered. So I'm going to go ahead, buff this off just with a rag. And that's just to get any of the residue off from the dye. And then I'm going to go ahead and top coat it with tan coat and get it ready to ship. So I'm just going to use tan coat. I'm going to apply it with a rag or a piece of sweatshirt like I usually use, if I have one. Otherwise I might have to cut some. I'm going to have to cut some more. But that's all I'm going to do, just tan coat and let her dry good. We'll send her out. Well, here we go. Another tool chest handle, all finished up. This one turned out really nice, and it was a much easier one to repair than some of them that I've done because it was just in decent shape. They caught it before all this got worn out and tore up and stuff. It's not perfectly straight. We try, but we can't always do it. So, as hard as I tried, it's not perfect. But you know, you're working with stuff that's already been used. This handle was already used. It was broken in good. it was well cared for, which was a plus. It did come out a little darker than the original. This was the original color. This does not look like what the color normally would have been originally. Looks like somebody maybe, I don't know, applied some kind of paint or something, because this is not like a dye. This is a paint. But, see if I can hold this in a manner you can see both. Mine's a little darker, but it is dyed, top coated. It is nicely done. Turned out real good. Be shipping it out here right soon.